What was that?
Oh Lord, it's the queen bee.
Regina George.
Don't look her in the eye!
You could be really hot if you changed, like, everything.
Hello, friends. I was gonna say losers, but I feel like that was probably too harsh. But get in because you're watching the big ticket interview for the new Mean Girls movie, which is not a remake of the 2004 original film and also not a straight adaptation of the Broadway musical, but rather a hybrid of both, which I think is so cool. This movie came out in 2004. I was a freshman in high school, had just moved to a new town and went to a new high school. So like, I lived Mean Girls. And I walked out of the theater thinking no movie had ever captured the complicated nuance of female friendships and was funny in the way you made it, Tina. So I can confidently say that any movie that has come out since then has never taken Mean Girls' place, aimed at our demographic. Like, this film is Bible, which would make you God, Tina, because you wrote the screenplay and you did it all by yourself. Like, it's insane. We shouldn't even call it a screenplay. We should call it a language because Mean Girls is one of the most quoted films of our generation. Like, I still yell, "You go Glen Coco" to my Amazon delivery guy. So I wanted to start this off by asking all of you, what is your favorite line from the original and what does it mean to you? It could be for your character or personally. And I'd love to start off with Jaquel and maybe we'll make our way down.
Okay, well, I think for me, it's my new favorite line. It's when Katie's like, "It's just plastic." Because I don't know, I feel like they take a lot of things seriously in the movie. We take a lot of things seriously and it's like, but none of this is real. Like, none of this is like, it's high school. You'll get over it, you'll get through it. Yeah. People are mean, but I mean, it's life, you know? Right. But I just love, I don't know, it's just something about it's just plastic. Like, I don't know, it means a lot now, especially doing this movie and working with these people. You know, like a lot of things that we think matter really don't, you know, things like we prioritize. We don't have to, just be nice, you know? And yeah, that's my new favorite.
Well said.
You go Glen Coco, 100%.
So hot.
That's so good.
My favorite is "We should all just totally stab Caesar" from that speech.
Whoa.
And I love it so much because when I was a kid, I was like, who's Caesar? Who's Brutus? What is this about? And then growing up and sort of realizing the historical context and how it sort of feeds into, it was just so fun, the parallel of ancient history and high school drama. I loved that bringing together.
I think I will also say "You go Glen Coco" because it's just my brother's friend name, and like I feel like my brother's. I was like, when I was writing the movie the first time, I was just like using random names, and it's just like my brother's friend, and I've ruined his life. He's really nice about it, but he's just like a dad living here in Los Angeles, and he's like, yeah, that's me.
Wait, Tina, does anyone know that? I feel like
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think so, yeah.
That's so funny.
Thanks again, Glenn. For not
So
sometimes I'll be in Target and I'll be like, oh, there's shirts with Glenn's name on it. Oh, sorry, Glenn.
No royalties there? He doesn't get any.
No, we don't know. We don't get them.
Moving on. Reneé.
My favorite line is "Boo you." It's just amazing. It's amazing. Also, it's just like it's so like, but like so like blasé, and it's just like delivered like in this like nonchalant like, I don't know. It's like it's an absurd thing to say out loud to someone else, and also she's so sexy while doing it that it's like, oh wait, I think like, did that just like turn me on in a way? Like, for sure.
Yeah.
That's why it's my favorite. It's an onion, it has layers.
My favorite line is, I had it and then it was gone listening to you say "that's hot." Oh, so you agree? You think you're hot? Because I think that sets up the entire film, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
You know, the character is just kind of digging for gold, and I think it just sets us up for the rest of the film.
Yeah.
Well, a friend of mine who actually worked with us on this, he's been saying "irregardless" now. Like irregardless, irregardless. It's just like the rules of feminism. I love that line.
It is really
Just
so
makes
funny.
me giggle.
Yeah.
Well, now it's "You go Glen Coco." That's so funny. I didn't, like, that's just like a great
is
story behind
hilarious.
it. It has to be. That's so funny.
Yeah, it's so good, and all these things made us feel so seen. Like, still, when my friend like wants to cancel on me, she's like, I'm sick.
Oh, yeah.
All of these things made us feel seen. The first point of view narration that was so prevalent at the time, like in Sex and the City that Katie gives us, the three-way calling, the burn book, these are all things we lived through. But that was obviously 20 years ago. So in what ways is this movie updated, Tina? And did you change the way that you played Miss Norbury at all?
No, I don't have enough range.
That's the biggest joke of the century.
Tim and I were in sort of like a kind of a weird multiverse thing where we're like, we are the same characters, and these people have the same names, but I tried to treat it like, well, teachers see the same patterns over and over and over in their decades as teachers, so it was like this weird reality of like they're not the same people. But yeah, I mean, I tried to update it, but I also always I don't try to chase like slang or anything that people are saying now, because by the time, it takes a long time to make a movie and it'll be over by the time the movie comes out. So we just try to have people talk like people, and yeah.
But then are we gonna have burn book, or is it more social media focused?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're gonna get a little bit of both. Like for me, the physical burn book always had this kind of evil power, and I didn't want it to just be like, it's an Instagram account. It's like because I was like, oh, we've seen that. Like this idea that there was this physical thing that then, explodes because of social.
Yeah, I love that you brought up Principal Duvall, because I love Tim Meadows. Does he still have carpal tunnel in this? Because I know that he injured his hand before filming the first one, which is why.
Yeah, in the original movie, he just like broke his finger in like the uncoolest way. Like he was riding a motorcycle out of his driveway and he clipped his mailbox. It was like, and he's like, sorry, and we're like, no problem. So I just made him have it again.
It's hereditary.
It's so fun.
Yeah, he's still battling it.
I love the energy between Miss Norbury and Principal Duvall on screen, but off screen, I love the energy between you and your husband, Jeff, because I mean, what an iconic pairing. Jeff composed the music for the stage play, this movie.
Yeah, the stage play, which Reneé was in, and then adapting all this music. Like the music team on this movie is incredible. Reneé co-wrote some new songs and wrote some songs for the new movie. And it's been thrilling to see him get to continue to transform all this music.
Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the new songs? Because I know he said he wanted it to sound like something you hear on Spotify as opposed to a Broadway musical.
Yeah, we have two daughters, and I really feel like what I observe about people growing up in the Spotify generation is that you take your music from everywhere. It's not like you go to the store, you buy the one album of the person you like. So my kids have very eclectic taste, and I thought I just want everything to sound like the way whatever this track is meant to be and the freshest. But I think that probably is where I should probably stop talking about music, because I'm not cool. But but I won't have the right language. But you should answer more about how things have changed and how things sound coming into the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly it. Like accessibility to music on one level is much different than it used to be. And it's incredibly, it's right there. It's right there, right? So I think you sort of see musical theater specifically becoming something that is more mainstream popular, and that people really love and consume much more heavily, I think, because it's more accessible. And so it's more of a pop culture thing now than this thing of those theater kids. It's no, the theater kids are actually the smartest, the hottest, the most witty, and also the most aggressive group of people you will ever meet.
Ever.
And they're all kissing each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But yeah, so I think that level of access makes it so that you love the song as opposed to the genre. I don't think you're thinking about the genre of music as much as you are the song, which I think is just more music in general right now. For instance, I used to hate country music because I grew up in the South, and I was I don't like the culture around this, where I'm from, whatever. Now I love country music because it's accessible to me in a way that I can just go on my phone and be Casey Musgraves, come on now, in my ears, right? I think it's the same sort of thing where Jeff and the whole music team have taken the integrity of the songs, made it what we wanted to make it as of a couple months ago, and that's where they live.
Wow.
And it's really nice.
Wow, God, I cannot wait to hear all the new songs in this. Thank you for adding new
a couple
songs.
new songs. And I think, I think with the whole movie in general, we just sort of knew that we had to find ways for it to be surprising because the original movie is always on somewhere, right? And how can we sort of surprise and hopefully delight people with the music choices, with the actors, with, just the way the movie's shot.
Well, Tina, if you're involved, it's definitely delight, not hopefully delight. But Angourie, I'm so stoked to see you in this because this is your first musical on the big screen. Yes. I love seeing you in comedies and thrillers. Now you're the lead in this film as Katie. I was thinking about all the high school roles that you've done, like Spider-Man and Senior Year, which you were in, Avantika, which is about a 14-year-old Australian immigrant that tries to be part of the populars. And I was thinking about how you're Australian, so I wanted to ask you, what is the funniest thing to you about the American high school experience? And give you total permission to roast us.
Where to begin? There are so many things that are very strange to me.
So true. So true.
So many things. The first high school movie I did, I was 16. So it was Spider-Man, so I was 15. And I didn't know what Homecoming was, because it was like the movie was called Spider-Man Homecoming. And I was like, what is this? I don't understand.
Perfect.
And they're like, oh, it's when I still don't know what it is. The football team comes home, right?
Alumni come home to watch the football game.
Yeah, the football. I knew it was a football thing. So there's that, and then the trays at the cafeteria. We would just bring our lunch to school. The yellow school buses. We don't have that. You would walk to school or ride your bike. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Very sick.
Same with big tall lockers. My school, we only got a third of those lockers. You had a little small one.
The low budget schools still have small ones.
Yeah. So the red solo cups at parties, we do have those, but only because America has it. We only do it because America does it. Yeah.
Sorry.
So it's
I'm sorry.
It's all those sorts of things. And also something that was very different is sort of the pressure to go to college straight after school. A lot of my friends took gap years. I didn't go to college. All those sorts of different things. But the most exciting thing was just being there and being part of everything I saw in the movies, because I grew up on movies like Mean Girls and High School Musical and all these movies that are about American teens in high school. And so getting to be a part of that was really exciting because I was stepping into a movie.
Wow.
And it's very different, but really fun.
What a roast. That was a long I love it. Speaking of roasting, let's move on to someone who plays Regina George, who knows a thing or two about roasting. I'm so excited to talk to you because you're so unapologetic and unfiltered, and I really appreciate that about you, Reneé. And
thank you. Such
a rising pop star and actress. I can't wait for people to see you shine in this, especially because you played Regina George on Broadway. Rachel McAdams has said you're amazing. I was reading an interview you did where you said you were so happy you took the original role because it gave you this 4-year employment gig.
Oh yeah,
which is great.
Yeah, no, it's my lifetime job.
What was it like getting the call back to come back for this? And what's one lyric that you get to sing as Regina that's just so satisfying to you?
Timing is so everything, and I'm a very I really believe in the universe and astrology and things like that, and it's very, very important to me. And I didn't grow up religious or anything like that, so that's something I've really latched onto as I've gotten older. In my sort of spiritual belief system or whatever you want to call it. At the time that I knew something was going on, but I had no idea that it was about Mean Girls specifically, I was at the same time going through something incredibly difficult in life, maybe one of the more traumatic things that has happened to me, and it had a lot to do with different parts of my life and different places in some of my jobs, and so I was really, really, really sad, and felt to be quite honest. And I was on the treadmill, which is so funny, just because of course Regina's going through things in the movie, and she's angrily running and walking on the treadmill in the musical, and I was pretty much doing the same thing. I was trying to sweat my anxiety out, and my mom and dad came into my house that I lived in at the time, and were on the phone with my agent and my manager, and my best friend knew, and they told me, and I in a very kitschy, like cliche way, like really started crying because obviously how cool, and I'd known about it for years, and it was a huge part of my life, but I was also really like, I knew that going back in with like her and Jeff and everybody that I knew was like involved with the movie, I knew that I would be like really taken care of and really valued, and that meant so much to me, especially at that time. I was like, oh wow, like the company you keep is so important, and I'm so excited to like be back in those graces.
Wow.
Yeah.
It really felt like you guys were at theater camp. Was
So
there a
much.
song that you got to sing as Regina that also made you feel like as powerful and
Yeah,
as satisfying?
I mean, well, world burn for sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm like, absolutely. I'm like crying. I'm like, oh, I'm so happy. I'm also like a vengeful. So I'm like, yeah, world burn was nice to sing. Yeah.
Auli'i, you would know a thing or two about singing satisfying songs, seeing as that you're Moana.
So hot.
And How Far I'll Go is like the most gratifying thing to scream in your car. I mean, this won a Grammy for a reason. How cool that you're back playing this another fearless, bold character in Janice, which is, she's so legendary. Her song, I'd Rather Be Me, is actually the most streamed on Spotify from the musical. I noticed that Janice's last name is different online for this movie. I wanted you to tell us what's different about Janice from the first time we saw her on the big screen, and what do you love so much about her spirit?
Yeah, that's a great question. Janice Sarkeesian is now Janice Imiike. I am of Native Hawaiian descent, so that was like a really, really wonderful touch of just incorporating my culture into this new iteration of the character that I get to play. And I have been really lucky over the years that I have been able to choose the roles that I want. And like the ground rules are very simple. Like I just want women that are well written, that are like strong and decide that what they say is what goes. And I feel like I really lucked out with this character. I also really obviously enjoy singing. I miss musicals. I miss working with like ensembles, it's so wonderful to put something together or to hear like a mix come back and be like, we sound so good. Yeah. Like, learning choreography together, sweating together. Truly I was running around on the set. Some of us had to do live takes. It was a labor of love and like blood, sweat, and tears. But I think a lot of times when we think of stage productions or movies, it's like, gosh, like what you guys did, like some of that is magic. It's not magic. Like none of it is magic, actually. It might feel that way, but all of it is hard work. And so to see this come out, like to also come through another unforeseeable event of a strike, like it feels, there's just a gratitude to it that I think all of us understand.
Yeah, and how sick that you got to do it with green tips in your hair. So I love Janice so much, so I can't wait to see you and the spirit you embody through her. And her spirit is so well received and complimented by her best friend, Damian. Well. Yeah! So high! So, Damian, the last 2 years of your life have been insane. I mean, you graduated with a degree in musical theater in 2021. You were in A Strange Loop on Broadway, got nominated for a Tony, and now you're in a movie playing a character that has made so many people feel seen. Yeah. Feels like he's changed your life a little in a way, but I'm not gonna speak for you. But I want to hear a little bit about that, if that's true for you, and also, what was it like shooting a musical for film as opposed to doing one on stage?
Yeah, well, definitely life-changing for me, because for a long time, Damian was the only plus-size queer character that boys like me had. Most of the queer men on, film or on stage are very buff or muscular or, a little twinkish, which is nothing wrong with that, but it's also like, where do we belong? Where do we fit? Like, where's our place? And that was always Damian for me. So to get to play him, especially as a Black man, was very special. I think the question that I always get in my size and being Black is like, what sport do you play? And it's like, well, actually, I sing a little bit and I act a little bit and I get to twirl for a living, So it's something really special, and that other boys get to see it really excites me. I will say the difference from a musical on stage and on film is 8 shows a week. That's a big difference. And it's very nice to be able to go in the studio and say, this is my best voice.
Yeah.
This is me at my strongest, at my healthiest. And that's what people get to hear, you know? And it's also nice to put that acting into the music and into the character while in the booth. And Team Music did like such a great job of being like, what does Damian sound like for you? And what does this song sound like through you? And that was really exciting. But just like, I think it was just said, the ensemble aspect of it all has been very beautiful. I was in a cast of 7 on Broadway, and that was great. But to go in and see all these, you know, lovely people, and then see the crew, and then see, you know, background, and it's like we're all working together to create North Shore, to create the high school experience. And it just so happens to have a little music and a little, you know, choreography, you know, just the glitter of theater to it. It's been really exciting, you know, so I hope that it translates and people feel the joy that we felt making it.
I'm so... Sorry,
No. I only say this just so we all are like, yes. Like Jaquel has like one of the best voices, like maybe ever.
Yes.
So like, yeah, super fun to be in an ensemble, and also like so glad you're in the ensemble because like we shared a wall in our dressing room, and it was the best time of my life. I got to hear Jaquel sing all the time, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, that's just different. It's just different.
So fun.
Yeah.
I'm so inspired hearing you speak about the character. I can't wait to see you shine in this. I mean, you're only 25. Avantika, you're 18. You're executive producing and starring in A Crown of Wishes on Disney+, which I could ask you a million questions about, but I'll save that for another day. But you are also a talented dancer, trained in ballet, classical, contemporary, and you play Karen, which means you're in the infamous holiday talent show. And I know that Kyle Hanagami was choreographer on this movie. Tell us what it was like working on that and what can audiences expect from that scene.
Well, I think Kyle is like iconic for anyone who like grew up being a dancer, and even if you didn't, like if you grew up in like the day and age where YouTube was just like your religion every night, like he is just iconic, and he is so wonderful in person. This is like my first time back dancing in a film, like since I've done Indian cinema, and so it was really, really nice to have somebody there who like one knew what they were doing so well and like had such a good attention to detail, because I get paranoid and I get scared that like people aren't being honest with me and people aren't telling me what is reading and what's not, and he always did. He is just so talented, and I think people, like Tina was saying, like there's so many like hidden delights in this movie that make it new and make it fresh, and hopefully like people see the dance sequences and are like, you know, motivated to get up and dance themselves, because I really do think they are so special. The talent show, well, I think like it was like our first dance sequence we did. It was our first
week 1.
It was week 1. Yeah, it was our
Really?
first dance sequence. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
For sure.
It was Friday of our first week was when we did it. Do you remember that?
No, I was there. I was there. No, I was there. I remember every minute.
Yeah, it was crazy, and we blocked it like day of, and it was just insane. Like we really did this whole production on such a tight schedule that everybody was like it was great.
I think it was like a month.
Yeah.
Like we made the movie in a month.
Yeah. Everyone was like confused as to why we were posting like Mean Girls Wrapped like so quickly after like and I was like, well, I promise you we did our best effort, but like everybody worked their off. And so doing that, like being the first dance that we all did together, I don't know, there's something really bonding about like performing in front like of like, because the audience was there.
Absolutely.
Like 200 backgrounds.
Yeah.
Just
we had there audience watching, and we're just popping our
And I remember saying to one of you guys, because it was week 1 and you had prepped it so much and rehearsed it so much, and then we shot it, and then I was like, isn't it weird you're never going to do that again? Yes, because you're used to like the stage, and you're like, now you'll never ever do it.
Well, you'll definitely bust it out at parties as a party trick.
I still remember.
I'm not going to.
Me and my friends still do it, but I just age myself, and that's embarrassing.
No, that's not. on me.
Yeah, Bebe, you played Gretchen Wiener, so obviously you were in that dance number as well. But Ashley Park, who played Gretchen, makes a cameo in this film. She played Gretchen in the musical on Broadway. Did you get a chance to talk to her at all about the character?
I didn't. That was like the one day that I wasn't there. I still haven't met her, which is like a travesty. I know. I still haven't met her. Like we need to make that happen.
Yeah.
She's so
I simply
must
adore
make
her.
that happen.
And I wasn't like super familiar with the musical. I had, known of it peripherally, but I hadn't really truly taken a listen. The one song that I knew and had heard frequently was What's Wrong With Me. That was like the one song that I knew. And I was like, God, that's such a pretty song. Never did I think I'd be sitting here. So it's very crazy. It's crazy.
I noticed that you were on 30 Rock over a decade ago. Do you remember what your first impression of Tina Fey was?
Yeah,
Like
I
working
mean, quite frankly, not to be like totes emosh. I think like I probably wouldn't be a professional actor if I hadn't had such a positive experience on that day. I mean, Tina was like basically my first scene partner as a professional actor. I had been auditioning for a couple months in New York City, and I booked a part, and it was 30 Rock. It was a guest spot. Wow. And I got to hang out with Tina and James Marsden all day, which was thrilling for me as a 10-year-old,
Sick.
I was so excited, and it was really just such a positive experience. I think probably like if I had done that day and I was like, acting, and didn't really like it, like I wouldn't be here. My parents, I'm lucky. Like my parents didn't push me this way. Like I've always just wanted to be a performer, and they've sort of allowed me to do that. And I think if I hadn't had such a positive experience, I certainly wouldn't be doing it now. So
Wow. I know.
I
God,
want to say too that I think Bebe was one of the last people cast in the movie because we had seen a lot of amazing actresses, but Gretchen just a really specific part to cast. And there was a day when I was like, guys, I want to review every single tape. I haven't seen Gretchen yet, and I went and I watched every single Gretchen that came in, and I got to Bebe, and I was like, there she is. There she is. And then I looked up her IMDb and I was like, oh my God. I didn't recognize you because you're grown and you were 10. And I was like, I picked Bebe once. And then I saw Bebe again. I was like, and it's Bebe again. And it's just like, she stood out to me.
warms my heart. Wow, that's beautiful. Wow. Chris, I wanted to ask you about working with Tina too. And hi, by the way.
Hi.
You're so good. And I turned pretty this summer just because I knew I'd be. I love you in that. I was reading that.
That's nice.
So much. Thanks. I worked on that one for a while.
You made that one up.
I got the Riz, as the kids say.
Oxford.
Chris, I was reading that you said there was a scene that you were doing that you weren't sure was landing as funny as you wanted it to be, and you workshopped it with Tina, and I was hoping you could share with us what scene that was and what comedic advice she gave you.
Can I say what scene it is?
Yeah, I guess.
It was when Aaron sees Regina and Brian, Shane.
Oh,
and,
right. When you cut.
And anyways, it was just the Aaron's reaction to it, and it doesn't have to be a funny thing, but it's when you're working on something that moves the way this movie does, because it moves so quick. You're doing so much of it in little pieces.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And sometimes I have trouble with that, personally, as an actor. It's really hard to do this, as opposed to build up to it or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, and so I just remember you came out and you were just suggesting things, and I was like, this is funny.
Hey, you're funny.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but I was like, so that's sort of that story. I don't even know. I don't think it's really a funny moment even, but
You were in the right. But he's naturally funny. He's just doesn't understand that. He
doesn't see it.
Yeah. Irregardless. No, that's awesome, and you're so great in so many things, but it's really fun to watch you as a heartthrob, and Aaron Samuels is so legendary heartthrob. So excited to see you in that. Before I go, Tina, you talked about the power of the burn book, which is obviously so horrible in real life, but so hilarious on the big screen. And I thought it'd be fun to end this and ask you guys, what's one thing that would be in your personal burn book? It could be a pet peeve, slow walkers. It could be a thing like high-waisted shorts. It could be a person.
That was specific.
Oh, like something we'd put in there?
Just something, yeah, that would be on like a page.
Like not about anyone specific.
It could be anything you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, she's looking it open.
Let's not name names.
Well, I was like, I'm pleading the fifth for
Yeah, nice burn book, I guess.
Mine would be like, you're not better than me because you're on a city bike.
Yes.
Oh,
You're not
fuck.
better than me because you're on a mechanical city bike.
Yeah.
Like, leave me alone
Use your
because I'm
legs.
like, I'll use my electrical.
Yo,
please,
they go
thank
fast though. They go
you. The
really
electrics are
fast.
so fun. I'm like,
Yeah.
just because you want to get like, don't judge me for taking the electric.
No, they're great.
It's so much better.
It's so much
Sorry,
more
the
fun.
scooters are in my
I
burn book.
actually-
The electric scooters are in my burn book.
Electric scooters. Okay, what about you, Avantika?
Oh, I'm already here. Someone else go first. I don't.
Left side.
I think I just need to learn how to drive again.
Honestly,
I just failed my driver's test for the second time. It's really bad.
That's good. That's telling us something.
I need
telling
people
us
to
you're not
use
ready.
their fingers. I need people.
I failed.
It's too much.
Oh,
So good luck.
She was like, "You shouldn't be on the streets," and I was like, I was like, okay.
So true.
So wrong.
Like, are you flirting with me right
You pay my $30 Uber. You do it.
I guess maybe I don't have a license. I just have like a graveyard of permits that have expired.
really?
So maybe I'm putting my graveyard of permits in the burn book, and I'm gonna learn how to drive.
You can do it.
So fair.
Past walks.
We're all like taking birds to the
Mechanical city bike.
I want to do that so bad. I want to roll to a premiere on the bird or something.
What's a bird?
I think it's I
scooter.
would love to.
It's
Oh, the ones in
Oh,
my
the-
burn book.
the one in your burn book. Yeah.
my
What
job.
about you, Chris?
They are so dangerous.
Yeah, they also burn.
I don't know. I hate when people chew
I
loud. Like
believe
that
that.
makes me want to die.
Yeah.
Like really, it's a thing.
No loud.
Well, it's like actually a thing, but it's also like it's a thing. Like, I
Sorry,
can't.
loud noise.
When I hear people
Oh,
like
yeah.
shoot, like dude, I get like
Yeah.
I see red. I
Okay.
really do. Yeah. No, I know.
You will get pregnant and it's called misophonia.
It is. It is called misophonia.
You can't stand the
Yeah.
mouth sound.
It's not even my fault. Like I just it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
not my
I
fault.
really, well, okay. I feel like I'm just going through. I'm shuffling my list right now. So I'm like, what's the
She's got to
next thing?
scroll.
Yeah, for sure. I would say like I actually really dislike in a very serious way. I don't like when if you're like in a group with people and somebody in that group tries to like kind of come for somebody else for no reason. I really dislike that. And I'm a pretty scrappy person, and I just cannot do that. I don't like when someone comes for someone else like for no reason. Like if you don't have merit, don't you dare, because then you're giving me merit, right? So then the tables have turned. But I really don't like that. Also, I said this earlier, but don't act dumb. I just don't like when people act dumb. Like if you know what you did, stand up.
Renee's a girl's girl. We don't ever have to worry.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
I say for my burn book, I think I'm gonna have to put people that still say Beyonce's overrated. And I say that because I just think we have learned. Look, sorry, you can see I'm getting intense. I'm at the table. I think we have learned as a collective. We've seen a lot of artists come and go. And for there to be an artist that I can say was there from my birth until me being in the Mean Girls movie,
Correct.
I think it just shows longevity. I don't know. I mean, and overrated to who? Like, who are we comparing her to? Maybe let's not compare. Let's let her be an artist. Let's let all artists be artists. Matter of fact, that's what I want to put. People who compare artists.
Yes.
Because art is subjective. And what are you, and can you be?
What a good one.
Can we get an amen?
I'm sorry, I needed that this morning. Now I'm ready for press.
It's very true though.
We have one left.
I don't know how to end that, but speaking of misophonia, someone told me I had misophonia because I can't stand when people crack their knuckles around me. Like it don't.
Like, do you feel it in your body?
It's making me want to crack my
I just hate when people come at other people and you don't like it?
Wait, you don't like this?
So funny.
Elsewhere, because
Wow.
I crack my knuckles all the time.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I won't because I'm next to you.
I do too.
I
You
won't.
guys are hilarious.
can't do
Thank
it.
you so much for letting me
Thank
sit
you.
with you. Thank you for
having
writing
us.
this, making this. Thank you for making Fetch happen. And thank you guys so much for watching. Tickets to the new Mean Girls movie is on sale right now on Fandango.com. My name's Naz Perez. It's not Wednesday, but obviously I still had to wear pink. So hot.
Ow.